Toy Story is an amazing franchise filled with really awesome characters. But have you noticed that some of those characters disappeared from one movie to the next? Andy. Andy's case is one of the easiest to notice, but also one of the most emotional. Andy was Woody and the other toys' owner, but Toy Story 3 showed him growing up and donating his toys to Bonnie before heading off to college. After that, he said goodbye to Woody and left forever. Aside from a flashback in Toy Story 4, he never appeared in the franchise again. Nobody has any idea what happened to Andy, but based on his farewell in the third movie, he was probably enjoying college life during Toy Story 4. Since Toy Story 5 will take place several years after the previous movie, with Bonnie now being older too, Andy has probably already graduated from college and found a good job. Maybe Andy has even found a girlfriend by now and is getting ready to start a family with her in the coming years. His return hasn't been confirmed in the new movie, but it would be incredible if he showed up so Woody could see how his old best friend is doing these days. If that reunion happened, the cowboy would definitely feel very proud. Ready to discover what happened to all the lost Toy Story characters? Sid. There's no way anyone could forget Sid, the very first villain in Toy Story. He was a boy who modified his own toys to turn them into bizarre monsters. In his final scene in the first movie, Sid was terrified by Woody and the other toys he used to torment, and that left him deeply traumatized. After that, Sid made a special appearance in Toy Story 3, now as an adult working as a garbage man. That was the last time we saw him in the franchise, and of course many people wonder what happened to him after that. Did Sid keep working as a garbage man all the way to the present day, or did he find another job? Did he go to college like Andy? Actually, we have an even more important question. Does Sid still remember when the toys revealed that they could talk and threatened him? It's possible that he started believing it had all just been part of his childhood imagination, but what if he still knows to this day that it really happened and that toys are alive? That could mean Sid still holds a grudge against Woody, which could lead to him appearing in Toy Story 5 as a villain the trailers are hiding. Or the exact opposite could happen. If Sid grew up knowing the truth about toys but realized he treated them horribly as a child and regretted it, in that case he could appear in Toy Story 5 as an ally and help Bonnie's toys defeat Lilypad. Lotso. Lilypad is going to have to work really hard to become the franchise's greatest villain, because many people believe that title belongs to Lotso, the villain from Toy Story 3. He truly is an evil character, and there's no doubt about it, because he ruled Sunnyside Daycare like a tyrant, and anyone who disobeyed him got locked up. So much so that his fate was the worst any Toy Story villain has ever had, with him ending up strapped to the front of a garbage truck. But here's the thing, Lotso is still alive and could break free someday, and if that happens, he'll definitely want revenge on Woody, Buzz, Jessie, and the rest of their gang. And that could happen in Toy Story 5. Everything seems to point toward Lilypad being the movie's villain, but what if that's just Pixar's strategy to catch us off guard when it's revealed that Lotso is actually behind everything? And if we take it even further, it's possible that Sid and Lotso are working together to get revenge on the toys, which would be one massive reveal. Woody would be totally doomed having to deal with two of his greatest enemies at the same time. Mutant toys. We talked about Sid, but the mutant toys he created by combining parts from different toys also disappeared from the franchise. The last time we saw them was at the end of the first Toy Story, watching Woody and Buzz escape from Sid's house. What happened to them after that is a complete mystery. Since Sid was so terrified after the scare they gave him, the mutant toys may have taken the opportunity to escape from his house too. Another possibility is that the mutant toys stayed there, but Sid never went near them again because of his trauma, which means they were finally able to live in peace. Let's just hope Sid didn't throw them away because he thought they were cursed or something like that, although he probably wouldn't even have had the courage to do it. The craziest part is that it would make perfect sense for them to show up in Toy Story 5, since many toys are being abandoned because kids are starting to prefer tablets. So it would be interesting if Sid's mutant toys joined Woody and Bo Peep's group to take in these abandoned toys. After all, the mutant toys are living proof that it's better to have no owner at all than to have a cruel one. Would you also like to see these lost characters return in Toy Story 5? If so, comment down below #LostCharacters. Stinky Pete. Stinky Pete is yet another truly evil Toy Story villain who suffered the consequences of his actions and never appeared again after that. In Toy Story 2, he believed toys needed to be preserved and wanted to force Woody, Jessie, and Bullseye to remain trapped inside a toy museum in Japan. In the end, Stinky Pete ended up inside the backpack of a little girl who loves painting her toys, and of course that left him completely terrified. But is he still living with that girl to this day? Stinky Pete would grab the very first opportunity to escape from her house. Even if the villain managed to escape, that probably only happened after he had been completely painted on and ruined by the girl, which would drive him insane since his entire goal was to be preserved forever. He's one of the villains with the biggest reasons to return in Toy Story 5, because Woody's gang destroyed his dream, and he definitely wouldn't let that slide. Barbie and Ken. It's honestly surreal that Barbie and Ken are actually in Toy Story, but it's true. Barbie was Molly's doll, Andy's sister, while Ken was a toy from Sunnyside that she met after moving there with the rest of Woody's gang in Toy Story 3. After Lotso's defeat, Barbie and Ken became the new leaders of Sunnyside and turned the daycare into a wonderful place for toys. And from that moment on, they stopped appearing in the franchise. Ken never appeared again after Toy Story 3, while Barbie did briefly show up in Toy Story 4, but only during a flashback. It's easy to imagine that the two of them are still running Sunnyside to this day, and if we really stop to think about it, they got one of the best endings in the entire franchise. Al McWhiggin. Even though many people consider Stinky Pete the main villain of Toy Story 2, Al McWhiggin was also one of the movie's villains, and he was the reason the story even started in the first place, since he was responsible for kidnapping Woody. And just like Stinky Pete, Al was last seen in that movie. He planned to sell Woody, Jessie, Bullseye, and Stinky Pete to a toy museum in Japan, but failed miserably. His final scene showed him devastated after losing his fortune while saying that his store had the lowest prices in town. In other words, he was dealing with financial problems, and it's very likely that his store went bankrupt sometime later. But what if Al started selling electronics instead of toys? After all, in Toy Story 5, kids are starting to replace toys with tablets and cell phones. It would be genius if Al managed to turn his life around by starting to sell electronics, which now have a much larger audience than toys. Maybe Bonnie's lily pad even came from his store. Nobody can deny that this would end up being a fantastic way to include him in Toy Story 5. Still, Al doesn't deserve to be successful after everything he did to Woody and Jessie, right? So if he shows up as the owner of an electronics store, you can bet that Jessie and her friends will probably end up accidentally blowing the place up or something like that. Big Baby. In Toy Story 3, Lotso had several henchmen, and one of them was Big Baby, who had the same owner as Lotso. During the movie, Big Baby betrayed the bear and helped Woody's gang defeat him. By the end of the film, he stayed living at Sunnyside Daycare, and just like Ken, was never seen again. We imagine that just like Ken and Barbie, Big Baby is still living at Sunnyside to this day. However, there's always a chance Pixar is trying to surprise us with some kind of reveal. Who knows, maybe it'll turn out that one of the daycare kids took Big Baby home. And if you're not subscribed yet, you know what to do. Click and hit the bell so you don't miss any videos. Chuckles. Besides Big Baby, Lotso had another companion before being abandoned by his owner. We're talking about Chuckles, a clown who, unlike Big Baby, never believed Lotso's manipulations. He eventually became one of Bonnie's toys, which makes it really strange that Chuckles was last seen in Toy Story 3. Yeah, he didn't show up at all in Toy Story 4, which is pretty weird, but the reason for that is sadder than anyone could imagine. Chuckles' voice actor, Bud Luckey, passed away before Toy Story 4. Pixar has a habit of no longer using a character when their voice actor dies, out of respect for them. Yes, that's why Chuckles disappeared from the franchise, but it still doesn't explain what actually happened to the character within the Toy Story universe. Did Bonnie donate the poor guy away? Forget him somewhere? It would be nice if Pixar at least answered that for us. Mrs. Davis. With Andy's farewell, another character disappeared from the franchise as well, his mother, Mrs. Davis. Just like Andy himself, her only appearance after Toy Story 3 was in a short flashback during the fourth movie, and we never heard anything about her again, just like so many other characters. With Andy heading off to college, Mrs. Davis probably focused on taking care of Molly, her younger daughter, but what if she ended up marrying someone? Since Andy's father never appeared throughout the entire franchise, it's very likely that he either passed away or divorced Mrs. Davis. With that in mind, it would be nice if she found a new love now that she has more time to focus on her own life instead of taking care of Andy all the time. And if Andy really does appear in Toy Story 5, there's a chance his mother could show up too, even if it's just for one scene, giving us the opportunity to finally find out what truly happened to her over the years. It's almost over, but until then, you can stay with us. There are 2 super fun videos waiting for you. Thanks, and see you next time.